Here we go. So these are, welcome back everybody. These are the Holistic Actions weekly webinars in April, where we're gonna answer your questions within the context of mindfulness, spirituality, energy, working with the body in a way that we may or may not have heard before from our regular vet, so it might be different opinions. We're going to ask you so we can get through all the questions. To try and limit your questions to 3 minutes or so. And if you have a question in the chat, it may or may not get answered in the chat. But if you put a question mark before your question, that would help a lot. And last thing is to raise your hand. If you want to raise a question, just hit the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. And then there's a raise hand feature in there, and then it says lower hand. So, I'm sorry, I'm Jeff Feinman. That's Dr. Christina Chambreau. We're holistic vets, and we're going to get going. So does anyone have any questions, or Dr. Chambreau, do you have anything you want to say?
Oh, I'm just ready to field questions here.
Right. And I apologize at that. Oh, yes. All right, yes. Okay, sorry. I'm in the middle of a little house crisis, so I am.
So his office roof fell in from flooding. This is not a minor household crisis. So if he has to leave, I'll be here answering your questions as always.
And I appreciate that.
So anybody want to raise their hands?
Hi, I have a question.
Okay. Who is this? I can't see.
My name is Anu.
Okay.
Yeah, so I live in California. I have a 6-year-old Maltipoo, Tintin, and actually Dr. Frick is seeing him, Dr. Ava Frick. She did a hair mineral analysis and found that a lot of his minerals are off. And so she gave him, pills for his adrenal glands and other things. And his levels got better 3 months after that. The only thing that is not improving is his temperament. He's still very, very fearful. And that hasn't changed at all. So is that related? I mean, what can I do?
Well, there's lots you can do for fearful animals. In addition to nutrition, does Ava Frick do energy medicine or Chinese medicine? I know she's not trained as a homeopath, but does she do chiropractic or anything else?
I can ask her, and I'm actually very lucky. She's actually in California right now, somewhere close to LA, so I can drive down and see her. I'm in the Bay Area. I can ask her for Chinese medicine or energy medicine.
You certainly can do that. Now, the other thing is, since you're in the Bay Area, there are dozens of wonderful holistic veterinarians in the Bay Area. So one of the places you can go to find veterinarians, so this is for everybody who's new on this call. If you go to holisticactions.com/select, I've just put it in the chat. It's a whole article on how to find holistic vets, and it gives you the websites for all the different modalities. It's up to you to go to every website, well, not the British, but pretty much to every applicable website. So even if you're looking for acupuncture, don't just go to acupuncture, go to all the websites, because most holistic vets can only afford to belong to one or so of the organizations. And there's an incredible Chinese medicine vet in the Bay Area, I think Oakland, and her name is Dr. Cheryl Schwartz. Okay. And she's the one that wrote a book that I recommend everybody own called 4 Paws, 5 Directions. And it's an incredible, I think the numbers are spelled out actually in the title, if you're looking it up. And it's an incredible book that talks about the Chinese medicine approach, Chinese food therapy approach, acupressure points, and more, Western herbs. So I highly recommend everybody get that, because it can actually, in reading the first part of it, can help you identify if some things related to fearfulness and anxiety. So the type, whether they're wood, metal, I forget the others, air, water, their type from a Chinese medicine perspective can relate to how their behaviors may be. And so that can help you sometimes choose foods that ameliorate that problem. The same thing can be done by going to Amanda Ree, who did one of our, she did the wonderful de-stress day with your pets that we all did. And she does Ayurvedic, and you can go to samadog.com and do an Ayurvedic test. For all of you can do this to see what's going on with your animals. Now, because we don't have tons of time here, the other thing you can do is go to the holisticactions.com, and you can read in the forum. You can't make a post unless you're a member of Holistic Actions, which I'd recommend, but you can put in anxiety, fear, and read those. And that's going to give you some clues in terms of what you can do specifically. So things you can do, I would start with flower essences, Reiki, other holistic approaches. While it could be related to minerals, it's less likely to be. But the key focus is that symptoms are a clue of underlying imbalance. And so all the behavior means is you haven't quite rebalanced the underlying imbalance yet. And then we have, is the happiness protocol available to anybody, Dr. Jeff?
Yep.
Maybe you can type that in. So we have a wonderful happiness protocol that following that may actually decrease fearfulness and anxiety.
So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Nelda?
And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, before we move on, I know I just want to address one little part of what you asked, and that is, are they connected? And the answer is yes. The very, very important thing for us all to know is that everything in our bodies and our pets' bodies are connected. So yeah, I mean, if you thank you. If you ever use an intervention and symptoms improve, but anxiety gets worse or theme gets worse in any way, behavior, energy, appetite, mood, and you know that underlying imbalance is not being addressed.
Right.
So that's why Dr. Christina asked about energy modalities, because that is the best way to address that energetic imbalance directly.
Thank you.
So is Nelda next, Dr. Jeff?
Yep. Nelda, can you unmute? Yep, there she is.
Hi, and I appreciate you doing this question and answer webinar. I have, I guess, a big question, 3 questions all wrapped up into one. I really appreciate all of your holistic approaches and everything. I'm stuck in a situation where I'm fostering I'm fostering a cat that's about to be adopted out, or I'm trying to adopt out, and I've taken notice to her peeing outside the box. Now she just had kittens, and she came from, I guess it was about 8 weeks ago. Yeah, because she just had the kittens. So she just came from an environment that was overcrowded and also very unclean, and a lot of bad food. So I've been feeding her good food. I have been giving her some crunchies, the Stella and Chewies, raw dehydrated. So I'm aware of the dry food causing what the medical community considers to be urinary tract infections, and I have read your posts about all of this. So I'm not in a situation where I can put her in another room by herself, where I can give her some space. I'm in a really closed situation, and I just would like any kind of advice And maybe your advice will be for me to join the community and pay for a visit with you, and I'd be happy to do that, but I just need some help.
Hold on, okay, hold on.
So Dr. Jeff, can you mute everybody?
That's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad to do it that way.
Um,
It's funny, I like
so-
it. Like, it's like, why not? If you have it.
There are, so she just had her kittens, you said?
Her kittens are now 8 weeks old.
Okay. And when did the problem start?
And actually, yes, I noticed the problem after her kittens were born.
How long after the kittens were born?
Probably about 4 weeks or 5 weeks.
And did anything else happen around that time?
I let her out of the cage.
Ah, okay. So she was in a cage that whole time.
Yes.
And
Well, I had let her out supervised. So this is the first I had let her out unsupervised. And that's when I was trying to let the kittens out unsupervised at that point also. So I was gradually letting them learn what a bedroom looked like.
okay, Dr. Jeff? Gonna let you go on this one.
Yep, sorry. And I'm sorry, Nelda, she's how old? The cat,
The, the,
Child rescue.
the mother herself is only about 8 months old.
yeah, and do you know her backstory before she was fostered or rescued or?
Yes, she was in my neighbor's house, and like I said, it was a very overcrowded situation. And there was litter box problems, terrible litter box problems, and as well as food aggression problems, because she would throw the food out for the cats and then run off to work. So and she fed on, the cheap food because that's all she could afford, and a lot of the cheap dry food. So my guess is, when there's wet food, cats can't really fight for the wet food and leave the dry food for the weak. And so my guess is Zoe only got the dry food, and it would have been the cheap dry food. But that was, that was a long time ago. That was back in December. So since then, since she's come to my place, she's only had wet food. I've been giving her fairly good wet food. And not, when I say fairly good, I mean, it doesn't have the grains and stuff like that, and it's grain free. And so then as far as the crunchies, I was letting her have some of the Stella and Chewy's raw dehydrated. So I'm
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah. So I don't understand if this now is really I want to say a health issue, or if it's a behavioral issue.
Well, 2 questions or a question comment. And have you had a urinalysis run?
No.
No, that may be a first step to rule that in or out. Having just been through that with one of my kitties, who's like a wild kitty, a Bengal kitty that we rescued that had a urinary problem, just a UTI in the past, but a UTI wasn't a UTI, it was a behavioral thing. And the odds are your kitty is suffering from litter box trauma.
Yes.
Will she even go in the box?
Yes, she does. She does go in the box.
Does she scratch in the box?
No.
Have you tried multiple litters?
No.
No,
You
different
mean
kinds.
multiple litter boxes? Yes, I've tried multiple litter boxes.
Different litters.
I'm using yes, I've tried 2, and trying to think if the second one was available. One I'm using is a walnut based, and the other one is your basic clay.
Yeah, I try a stand litter first, like clumping litter, a non-deodorized, so it should be just
Right.
plain and no dust. Have your multiple litter boxes around and just really praise her when she goes in the box for any reason.
Okay.
If you just see her walk in the box, she's a good kitty. If she's food motivated, give her a treat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and get that urinalysis run if possible, just to to rule out a UTI, but I can tell you from Aviva who peed 5 times in one day on the couch, and in my bed right now, and her urine, everything was normal, and it's
Okay.
just a emotional behavioral thing.
Okay, I'd love to be able to leave her out and let her have more space in my house, but because I think that may have something to do with it also. But I have 5, I was fostering just her, and now I myself have an overcrowding situation. So I'm kind of stuck. So okay.
Well, good
Well,
luck.
and
Good
the
luck.
The other thing is I would really work if you could to see if you can partner with somebody who can help you with your overcrowding situation.
Yes, I am working on that. I
Okay.
just got the kittens spay and neutered, and I'm working on getting them out the door at this point also.
Wonderful.
And if I could work with someone also to fix her problem, that would be helpful too. So yes, I'm doing that. Thank you very much.
And the
Okay.
other thing you may want to look at that just may help her, I think what Dr. Jeff suggested is probably the strongest things, praising and training her to use the box. But flower essences are totally safe. And there's some flower essences with the different companies that are for going out of the box. So
Okay.
you can do a search on that, and they're 100% safe. All the companies that are out there are fine.
Okay. I will look for that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Laurie, you're up next.
Yes, I wondered if you had experience treating blastomycosis.
I personally haven't, Dr. Jeff.
It just so happens that one of the only homeopathy articles in a traditional vet journal was treating another fungus, Aspergilla. So yeah, just like most bacteria, even if they have scary names like Clostridia or MRSA, if we work on the immune balance and not worry about fighting the blasto or histo or whatever, the same approach works for them all. And that's kind of why Dr. Christina is promoting so heavily holistic actions, select the courses, the free course, especially because that introduces you to the approach that focuses on the inner terrain instead of the germ. So we know in science that the balance of the immune system and the balance overall is more important than most germs and most fungi.
Right.
But in general, conventionally, blasto is a pain in the butt to treat depending on where it is.
Well, yeah, the issue I had was I don't have, I have access, of course, through the internet to, kind of everyone that's out there offering online consults. And I've been working with Rita Hogan on the herbal side, and did a lot of research on immune support. So that my concern at this point is trusting that the immune support I'm doing is going to stop her from getting it. And then having whatever remedies on hand in case she still gets it. And then I wasn't sure whether it's possible to just create enough immunity to it through exposure. Because I'm in an area where it's really bad. And for people who don't know what blasto is, it's a fungal infection that's from a spore off of a fungus that you can't even see, that's in forested areas. They say it's by areas that are wet and damp. It can be under your building if there's any water accumulated. Very bad in Michigan, Wisconsin, Great Lakes area. I'm in Canada, so it's on the Ontario side, and it's similar to valley fever from what I can tell. That's down near, I guess, Arizona area. And once they get it, it's a big deal. And the vets tend to go straight to, I don't know how you pronounce it, itraconazole. I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I want to be as armed as possible because I'm not going down the conventional route with it. So I was just wondering what resources you had in a kind of addition what I've already been looking at. But
the very best way to be armed is start working energetically. So the immune
Yeah.
support all works physiologically. So it's great for supporting the immune system. But if there are any energetic entanglements or any areas in the body where the energy isn't flowing smoothly, yes, every supplement in the world, every diet in the world isn't gonna really make that big of a difference. They're gonna help, and a good
Okay.
fresh food diet, and the more heart you can give, fresh heart, freeze-dried heart. But if I would, the best way to be proactive in my mind would be to start working with the vet homeopath. Or, you know,
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Homeopath. Yeah.
And the way to find that
Okay.
is what we've already listed in the chat, which is go to holisticactions.com/select. And you also, I
Right.
would recommend for everybody who's a member that's here today, be sure you get your copy that is no charge to you of the Healthy Dog Journal or the Healthy Cat Journal. Download those. And if you're not a member and you'd like to get the Healthy Dog Journal, come to my website, ChristinaChambreau.com. And my name's right there if you scroll over it to get the spelling. Because keeping a journal, and this journal helps you with the early warning signs of illness, tracking them, and creating a master symptom list. So one of the, Jill Fair asked about several, licking the rear and goop in the eyes. And those are early, well, the licking the rear could be a couple of things, but in general, those are symptoms that are considered early warning signs of illness, of internal imbalance. So they're not an illness. It's not a dis-ease. These are things where most people consider them to be normal, but a bunch of us holistic and homeopathic vets created the list because these are symptoms that healthy animals do not have. Things like, tearing coming down the eyes, a little bit of brown goop in the corner of the eyes, cats vomiting hairballs, dogs having mucus on their stool, dogs eating pica, eating weird stuff, licking cement, cats eating litter or licking photographs. These things that cats vomiting hairballs, cats drinking water if they're not on dry food. So these are all things that until they're gone, you've got an internal imbalance. So you work at multiple ways. So there are things each of you can do. And please, if you haven't done it yet, take the free 101 course, the fundamentals course, Holistic Health for Pets 101. And that will give you more details on each of the things that we've been talking about here, like feeding well and happiness protocol and things like that. So that would be one of the next steps, Laurie, that I'd suggest going for, is looking at those symptoms and then taking the course and doing those, and then definitely working with a veterinary homeopath, Chinese medicine, anything. And then finally, for everybody, and including you, Laurie, for this, is there are dozens of pure energy methods that you can learn. Many of them, once you've learned them, it's just you and your hands and your intention. You don't need anything. Some of them, you need something like a tuning fork. You buy it once and you're set for life. Or some of them, you need to take a course to really learn it. It really needs more of a course. So that's something and these are things you can do every day to build health and improve the immunity and prevent getting infections, like anything, like blasto or anything else. Okay, so I encourage everybody to go that route. Okay, Whitney, what have you got? You're muted, Whitney.
Oh, wait, hold on. Got two things going here. I just had a question about Lyme, and I know I'm fairly well educated about the whole thing, but I use essential oils on Siren when we go into the woods, but I'm still pulling quite a few number of ticks off her. And I just didn't know if I should be giving her, I do some mushroom supplements, but I didn't know if I should be giving her a remedy after I take these ticks off her.
Nope. You don't want to do remedies unless there's symptoms, because remember, homeopathy is an individualized medicine. We don't give a remedy for not using the litter box. We don't give a remedy to every dog that got bit by a tick. We want the body we want to see how the body responds individually. However, things for ticks include, because I know you go on long hikes, so it's not in your yard, but in your yard, if you have flea and tick problems, go to Flea Destroyer. It is the best new product for nematodes. It's wonderful. For ticks, you can use, for tick protection, listen to Judy Herman, Dr. Judy Herman's talk. She talked specifically about protection in the wild, including a tick coat that you could use. There are several of the tags to prevent ticks. Most of them are more EMF type, but there's one that I just saw at the Global called tickless.com, and it is ultrasonic. So it's a sound that makes the little organs at the tip of the tick's antenna freak out and they leave. And the same thing for fleas. So that's sort of a new one to me. I haven't used it a whole lot yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
I looked into the tags, and you have to leave it on all the time. And I don't leave Siren's collar on when I'm not home.
So tickless doesn't do it that way. Tickless is sound, and you can take it off and put it on, and it works as soon as it goes on.
Okay.
So that's one of the new things about it. You can even go swimming in it for a short period of time, but you can take it off, swim, and put it right back on again.
All right, we'll try it. Thank you.
Compared to the other tags. Janet, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hi, good day. So my cat went off one time, and that one time she wound up getting pregnant. She's young, she's over a year old. And I just want to, I follow a lot of what you're doing here. It's good. I'm happy to sit with her. We do the breathing and the chakras, and she seems fine. I'm not worried. I guess just in terms of food, I'm giving her, she's getting, I don't find on any particular recipe. I kind of make my own with the food, and it has to do with fruit and it has to do with vegetables and stuff that they eat. They eat melon, they eat papaya, they eat healthfully. She's thrown up a couple times.
Cats need meat.
Yeah, they
must have meat.
I started chicken with her. I had been giving her fresh shrimp. Here they bring it right off, and it's really fresh. So it's really fresh what we're getting. So she's getting shrimp and some small little dried fish and chicken.
Good.
She's thrown up a couple times, but I figured it was kind of pregnancy. It wasn't all her food or anything. And I've been pregnant, so I'm treating her how. So my biggest question is there anything further just to maybe support her? She's obviously comfortable because she ran off and came back and is having babies. And then also maybe if you could just let me know how long after she's had her babies and finished nursing I could get her fixed or, adjusted or because I don't want more kittens. Thank you.
Dr. Jeff?
Yep, my first suggestion is, depending on where you are and if you can get it, is raw goat's milk. If you can,
Wow, that's a specialty item. I could probably get raw cow's milk where I am. I'm very rural, but no, if I find it,
any goat's milk would be
Okay.
great, or even like Trader Joe's has a goat's milk. I don't know where you are in the world.
I'm in
with the US.
Mexico.
Yeah, so you don't have Trader Joe's, unfortunately. Where in Mexico are you?
I'm in a town just kind of a couple hours north of Puerto Vallarta. So like this is a place where they literally bring the chicken to the place, and the chicken I get is really, really fresh. That's the advantage.
Awesome. The other thing, if goat's milk of any kind isn't available, the pet stores may have frozen goat's milk, and you may have access, to freeze-dried hearts or fresh hearts.
Yes. Okay. How often these I can get?
As often as she likes to eat them. They are so jam-packed with energy and nutrients. The only downside is if you give too much, they get some loose poops.
Okay.
Maybe start early, start school.
Okay, what does the goat's milk provide?
Everything. Yeah, it's, I mean, the raw goats is, I mean, that can be actually a solo diet for cats. They can eat nothing other than that and do just great.
Wow, wow, okay, thank you. What about after she's finished with the nursing to, let her heal and have a good time to be able to do this operation?
Well, first of all, she's a cat. She's designed to heal, so don't worry about that. If you support her, she will heal. My answer to spaying her afterwards is whenever you can, because cats are seasonally polyestrous, so some cats come into heat every couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, yes.
And that doesn't,
I'm an expert.
so yeah, so you've got maybe, 6 weeks after she stops, but some cats, they stop and they go to eat so they can get bread the next.
Yeah, okay. Very
And-
clear.
Yep, good. And in terms of milk, and in terms of protein, I would just keep rotating and adding in as many different proteins as you could.
Okay,
That's an important, and make sure that you're feeding at least some big chunks, whether it's chicken necks, chicken backs, chicken wings with the bones, or a big chunk of meat, maybe even a big chunk of fish, so that they're sinking their teeth in it. And
yeah,
that'll clean their
they've,
teeth.
I cut it pretty, like bite size, but
No,
not tiny.
you want
It's
it to
not
be
ground up.
big. You
Okay,
want it
well,
to be big enough that they look like a cat in the wild.
okay, well, I'll do that a certain amount. They make such a mess, so I'll,
Right?
yes.
If
But
you
you
do that,
said,
if you do that 2 or 3 times a week, that'll
okay,
help.
but you said I could give them each like a chicken wing or what about
Uh-huh.
a chicken foot?
Yep.
Like, the chicken
Yep,
foot
chicken
good?
foot would probably be good because they have to wrestle with that. See, also it gives them a chiropractic adjustment every time they're
Yeah,
eating.
this jaw working, right?
Right.
It's really
Well,
good
but
for,
also watch what they do. They go.
they do.
So that's good. And it's fine to mix it up. It's not that you have to do that every meal,
Okay,
but
all right,
definitely you want to focus everybody. You want to focus when you're feeding on dental health. You want a wide variety, big hunks, and then find out what works best for your animals because every animal is different and unique.
yeah.
And that also helps answer Jill's question. She has GI problems, and GI problems indicate an imbalance in the vital force or the energy field. And every animal is going to have different symptoms from that imbalance. So some animals with GI problems have diarrhea, some are constipated, some are gurgly, some are burping, some are farting, some are not absorbing food and properly, and so they're gaining weight or losing weight. And so the treatment you do is focused not on the condition, GI problem, but it's focused on this individual animal's symptoms, and you do a treatment, which could be probiotics, fecal transplants, homeopathy, acupuncture, energy methods like Reiki, Webb, Bingston method, etc. And Eden energy medicine, tons of approaches. You pick one of those, try it, and then you see what happens to the symptoms. Some get better, some get worse. Some, they all go away, they feel better overall. And we haven't talked about beam today. So one way that you know if your animals are moving in the right direction towards health is that their beam or behavior, energy, appetite, and mood get better. Now, Dr. Jeff created this acronym BEAM, but those of you who purchase my the journal will notice that in the pre-printed master symptom list, the first one is energy level, the second one is appetite, and the third one is behavior. So this was done 20 years ago. So those are the keys that you want to be following, even if the diarrhea continues, but they feel better and are doing great. Even if the, whatever the symptom is, if they're feeling better and doing good overall. then you're moving in the right direction. So those are important first keys. So we talk about beam.
And I just want to take a quick pause because Jill asked about the GI. You answered a little bit about the GI, and we're coming up on our GI month and diarrhea and IBD month. So I
Great.
put a link in the chat if you want to get the IBD month and attend all the webinars, be able to post on the forum. And I believe we're going to set up a bunch of resources that you can download and have forever. Then the link is in the chat, and that goes actually doesn't start going on sale officially, I think, till next week, but I think that link and that page will work now if you want to check it out.
Okay, Catherine. Catherine Hargraves.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Okay, great.
So, I have a cat with FGESF. Are you familiar with that? FGESF.
Tell us what the symptoms are.
Well, it's feline gastrointestinal eosinophilic sclerosing fibroplasia. It's a very rare disease. Clinical signs: decreased appetite. I'm reading off of
No, but what
paper.
symptoms does your animal have?
She is anemic, severely anemic. A home blood test, HCT meter from Britain indicates she's below 12%, but she's non-regenerative. So if I go and get a $4,000 blood transfusion, I'll just have to go and get another one in 2 weeks because she'll use up all the red blood cells. So what I'm doing is trying to build up her, she might have a bleed from one of these lesions from the disease, but it seems to be more her stomach. So I'm using NAET.
Good.
Certain body parts are coming up repeatedly. Let's see if I'm going to bring up one. So kidney capillaries, kidneys and reticulocytes, stomach fundus, stomach lining.
Okay, that's not going to help us right now and will take too long. We can't take every test that you've gotten. So basically,
so my question
anemia is your main problem.
Right. And so I'm using stem cell activators to try to build up the bone marrow, which makes the reticulocytes and also get rid of all the body problems.
And are you seeing a
NAET.
benefit? How much benefit are you seeing with the stem cell?
Increased appetite and energy. I'm not sure about her gums. When I was looking at them before, I wasn't looking that closely, and now the gums and the roof of her mouth seem to be about half pink. And I have not tried to do another HCT test.
Okay.
Because every time you do one, you take blood.
Well, you're not taking that much blood. So here's the thing for everybody. You notice we just talked about beams. So it was perfect that we talked to Catherine next, because what she said is after the stem cell, we have increased appetite and increased energy. There's beam. The beam is improving. And
this is a characteristic of the stem cell activators is that all the animals get hungrier because of what's in it. There's other things besides the stem cell activators.
Okay, but if for instance, even if that's something that normally happens, if you had used that and it wasn't happening, then that would be a clear indication to not be using that treatment. So it's still important to look at that. And so my suggestion is that you do begin working, in addition to all of these, that you begin working with a way that is deeply treating the underlying energy imbalance, not merely, it's good to treat physiologically with the stem cell, et cetera. But you also want to be doing homeopathy, really good Chinese medicine, et cetera. Because
Yes, well,
regardless,
I'm
for
doing-
every,
I am doing that. I'm doing homeopathy, but it's more, it's not classical.
right, you need
No, to-
classical.
It's
Well,
not
it
matching
depends.
most of her symptoms.
Okay, so it depends. In terms of whatever treatment you choose, the way to monitor it, definitely get the journal. The way to monitor it is you have all the symptoms, ones that come from blood tests, ones that you're observing. And everybody, this is very important. You need to start today doing physical exams on your dogs and cats. You need to know what color the gums are today, whether they're ill or healthy, but particularly on the healthy ones, that's when you want to be doing it. And do it once a week or once a month, depending on their health, so that you do know what they look like. So that was a good point to bring up. So you, on the master symptom list, anytime you do a treatment, you have to look at all of the symptoms, the current symptoms and the past symptoms, including early warning signs of illness and including the beam type of symptoms. And because that's how you can tell if the whichever new treatment you've added in is deeply helping or not. And homeopathy does not treat, we don't have different treatments for different diseases in classical homeopathy. Instead, we treat the individual and we use the totality of all symptoms, past and present, to treat the underlying energy field imbalance. Other methods of homeopathy can be successful, can be helpful. Sometimes the best you can get is palliation or temporary help, and that can last sometimes for years. So there are different approaches to homeopathy. And so maybe the one you're using is working. You're the one who can tell us, is it helping or not? If it's not, then I would move to classical homeopathy.
And does that mean you dump all the other remedies?
It means use one remedy at a time. It means working with, and for a disease this severe, I would be working with a professional, trained homeopathic veterinarian.
Oh, I'm using David Carlson.
Okay,
one of
she's very
Pittsburgh's
well
stars.
trained. And
Yeah.
so then the next step is when you're working with a well-trained homeopathic veterinarian, then, and she does a variety of other things. So it's
Right.
up to you to decide, are we moving in the right direction or are we not? If not, you change homeopaths, you change approaches. And it's something, we can't go into all the details on the quick call we have today. It's something that if you were a member of Holistic Actions, you could post on the forum over and over again, and we could see, okay, what's happening now, what's happening then, are we moving in the right direction or not moving in the right direction? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, she's also in oxygen, and I noticed that she's breathing better at lower percentages, so that would be another
Great,
goalpost,
Great.
I guess, getting her out of
Great.
oxygen.
great. Yeah, and that
It's a great
sounds like
goal.
really bad disease. Catherine, can you put the stem cell activator that you're using in the chat?
Okay.
And-
Only
And
David
right
Carlson,
now,
the- people don't like me bringing this up because David Carlson is the only one that prescribes this right now. And they think I'm pushing her, and I'm not. I'm pushing the method.
No, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and post it.
Okay.
That's not a problem here. We
I'm-
share all sorts of things that one person uses, and one of our main things here is at Holistic Actions is having people understand that symptoms are good. They indicate what's happening with the vital force. Is it getting ill? Needs to start doing something different? Is it responding to treatment in a good way, a temporary way, or a bad way? And then we provide an incredible range of treatment modalities, many of which counteract each other or have different opinions, not counteract them in treatment, but have different opinions. And that's okay. And some of them are one person doing it or selling a product or teaching a course. And that's all fine here at Holistic Actions, because our main opinion is that it's an energy field imbalance that we need to be treating, and anything, and then we can soothe other things that are, soothing can help as well. Okay, who's next? I don't see a hand up. Anybody want to jump in?
There are a bunch of other questions in the
I
chat.
think we've gotten most of
but-
the chat, actually. I don't know
I don't know why
I'm
I'm getting an echo.
Okay, then we are going to, I'm just scrolling back to see if we're missing anything. We've got a few minutes. We can either wind up now or we can run through.
Here's one, Dr. Jeff, to answer. Rosemary McKenzie,
Yep.
you suggested to her start working with a trained vet homeopath, but you might want to speak a little bit about the LEADM protocol, and also, I'm not getting an echo, so definitely you do not want to be using fipronil. And neem sometimes works, but we talked about the two other approaches for ticks, and there are many, many more approaches for ticks. So even as a non-member, you can go to the forum at Holistic Actions and you can type in tick prevention or ticks, and you'll see a whole list of things. And the key is, so here's the thing about fleas and ticks and other bugs, is that if your animal's healthy, has a balanced vital force, a balanced energy field, they won't get fleas, and they may get fewer ticks, but even if they get ticks, they'll be less likely to get any of the diseases. So that's why we want to build health and work towards that. Okay, Laurie, you had another question?
Yeah, just a quick one on when you were talking about that tickless, what was the word, ultrasonic?
Yep, ultrasonic.
Sounds. Would you be concerned about how that would affect them? Because how would that compare to the ones that they use for like scaring mice away?
I don't know. It's something I said I'm new to this. We're still
Yeah, I
exploring.
only asked because I had issues with pets where we had one of those ultrasonic things, and they got the dogs got really aggressive, and they were golden retrievers. It just was not making sense.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they're capable.
And
of
when
it,
you
ours
stopped
weren't.
it got better.
Immediately they were happy. So I anything that's in that area, I've been shying away from. So that's why I just wondered if it was kind of what your experience had been with that kind of device.
I just learned about it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I've
Okay.
been talking to different holistic practitioners, haven't been getting any response back yet. They've used it for 20 years in Europe. It's been sold.
Oh,
So it's still on the
okay.
market. It's been around a long time. That isn't necessarily, but that's sort of a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. No, I get that. Okay, appreciate that. Thanks.
Sure. Rachel? Rachel, you have your hand, or somebody, Galaxy. Maybe that's not Rachel. Galaxy something Rachel V. Who's still muted.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. First, I want to say I found Dr. Jeff, I think on a live with Julie, and I immediately adored him. I think he's amazing. And I love you too. And I love, your directness too. I just, I'm going to try to get right to my point as well. First thing I do want to say to everyone, I do want to say, just thank you for giving us such great advice. And something that I learned, one thing I learned from Dr. Harvey is mother knows best when it comes to our pets. And Leela from Vitality Science, one time I was having a problem and she said, remember people, the vets work for you. You're their boss, you pay them. So that's, a really good thing I just want to put out there for everybody.
That's great. What's your question?
My question is, I have a 14-and-a-half-year-old female pit bull. She has osteoarthritis. She has stage 2 renal disease, which I've been able to keep under wraps for a while. She hasn't leveled off, but in the last 6 months, since I've done her blood work, all her liver enzymes have gone up. I actually have 3 vets, a regular vet I've had for 16 years, a holistic vet, and a woman that comes to my house to do acupuncture. And of course, everybody has a different reason why these enzymes are up. Some think it's the jump for joints I'm using from Adored Bees because there's alcohol in it. My holistic vet, who's very far away, thinks it's probably the fact that she was on Cipro because she had a terrible UTI. I am using CBD Dog Health. I am using Green Lipid Muscles. I'm using Myos on her, standard process. I really don't want to use every now and then. I use Galabrant for her joints. I am renting a laser to use at home. I guess I'm looking for anything holistic and natural for her osteoarthritis relief and to bring her liver enzymes down. I am using Denamarin. That's what my regular vet asked, told me to do. And I asked my holistic vet and he's like, well, you can just give milk thistle, any kind of milk thistle. So that was just too, loose for me.
Well, that's okay. And we only have 2 minutes. So I want to get to give you some answers here. Number one, as I would talk with your acupuncture veterinarian, because really good traditional Chinese veterinary medicine treats everything. It treats the underlying qi imbalance. And so the liver, arthritis, and renal should all be improving with the treatments that your acupuncture vet is doing. And if they're not, you need to have a conversation with her about that.
Yes.
Or you may want to switch. Sometimes with homeopathy, I would be stuck and not getting improvement, and I'd send them to an acupuncture vet. So if you're not getting what you need with an acupuncture vet, you may want to go with a homeopathic veterinarian.
A problem I'm having is my holistic vet that I've used for 10 years. He's 45 minutes away and she can't take the ride. So I've had a woman come to the house 9 times, and she the last time she said to me, she's like, I don't think she likes this. I don't think she's tolerating this. And since she's coming those 9 times from September to now, she comes every 2 weeks, but her enzymes have gone up from her last blood work since she's been coming. And I haven't noticed any improvement with her.
So you need to change who you're working with.
Yes, thank you.
So go to holisticactions.com/select and go to the homeopathic veterinarians because they can help you by phone. There are some other holistic veterinarians who can help you by phone as well.
Okay. It's just, I don't have anyone close enough that like I said,
they work by phone.
Right.
They can
but
help
I'm saying
you
as far
virtually.
as like a treatment, like a chiropractic treatment.
Homeopathic treatment may be all that you need.
Okay. Wonderful.
So, and if not, then you can keep figuring out what else you need to do, but that would be the next step that I'd recommend.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And that's a great way to wrap up, because your pup will definitely benefit from energy raising, and homeopathy is going to balance out the energy. So whether you find someone to work with directly or not, working on joy and happiness and fresh food feeding and lots of heart, all the things that we talked about over the past hour are going to help both the kidneys and mobility and quality of life. Just focus on that joy, and when a dog is in their joy, their body is working as good as it can possibly work, and often get them into that joy. It's just a, a therapeutic sniff walk or a happy meal or
Yes, I
And then
sometimes just
also
laying
for
out
every,
the sun.
right, that's good. For everybody, I'd also recommend, since we're really out of time here, check out, in addition to Holistic Actions website, which there's a lot you can do for free. We also have a YouTube for Holistic Actions. And so you can watch some of our wonderful speakers like Anitra Fraser, who's the cat maven, amazing, and Bernie Siegel, the pediatric
Yeah.
oncologist. And then go to All Pause Pet Talk TV. And we keep editing more and more of our shows, and they're free. And right now they're on YouTube. So go to YouTube and put in All Pause Pet Talk TV. The cat person is Anitra Fraser.
who will be
So
given
enjoy.
who will be given the Monday webinar, which is open to the public, and anyone can register for that. And her name is spelled Anitra.
Absolutely.
And
Do not
it's not
worry about that. Diane, I wouldn't do homeopathic organotherapy for flea and tick prevention. Sorry, that's my opinion.
No need to worry. I
Alright.
we sit down he was here. No, no.
Yeah, so
Ellen?
wait,
Oh, by the way, I used that cat and dog tag on my dogs. It's been good so far since October.
oh, awesome. You're muted still, Dr. Chambreau, but we're gonna say goodbye and thank you, Brigitta from Slovenia. Yes, Schussler's salts, if you just combine them all, that work great for some. So thank you. And if you have any other questions, just go to holisticactions.com, and either on the website or on the forum, you'll probably find an answer there. But it's a different opinion than a second opinion. So thank you all. See you next week. Bye.